Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul, and we are
SP Film Viewers.
Firstly, I'd like to thank everybody who voted on Twitter for what we're about to review this week.
We actually got some response. When you said people were voting, I was like, really? I'm not on Twitter. I don't get Twitter. I've never have. I might have an account, but I don't know. I'm younger than you and I don't get it.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised as to, that might sound strange, but the amount of people who almost like straight away got on board with the votes coming in was quite taken aback. It's like, shows people care. So thank you very, very much. The choices were between The Apartment, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and All About Eve. All good contenders for things that I've wanted to see for a while. They're all kind of like in a sort of similar vein, I feel like, in a time period and being like a old-timey like rom-com aspect to them. So
Even The Apartment?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when Paul shows me them, I just go by front covers. He doesn't read the back until we get to this point.
Yes, that's kind of the point. But I don't know a great deal about this myself, but it seems to have high praise and high scores. Well, I thought that about Quaiden, but, I've got a feeling this is definitely going to be pretty solid.
I hope so, because we've had quite a few flat ones. So I'm hoping for a really good one.
Yeah.
And you know me with an old-timey classic,
Yeah.
like Singing in the Rain. I'm hoping
exactly.
I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
I'm really high hopes, and now people have recommended it as well. I'm even more so, because I was going to go Breakfast at Tiffany's. I've never seen it, and I've always wanted to see it.
Neither have I, but that will come around for sure. But yeah, I thought I'd give it a fair chance of all the choices, because I don't know which one to think. I didn't want to be like almost like flip a coin kind of thing and be like having to do that. So I'm kind of glad it's worked out, and it's in a way it's not like something was like they're all the same scoring on it in terms of what the votes came in. This kind of outbeat the other two by quite a margin.
This was like 50% of the scores.
50, yeah.
So, outright winner.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know anything about The Apartment. I did ask you if my lovely George Bailey was in it, and you disappointed me.
No James Stewart in this, no. But Jack Lemmon is in it, but
I don't know who that is.
I've not really heard of him. I don't know if that's bad in terms of like, you should know who he is kind of thing, if he's like an equivalent of like James Stewart or something. But
George Bailey.
So that kind of gives me good signs that it must be like he must play a good role.
Is he dishy?
I've no idea.
Well, on the front cover, he looks like a grumpy old man, like walking.
Yeah, I've got the Arrow Academy set that I bought, and it's got this like nice art style cover to it, and yes, is it the guy walking down the street? It does look a bit grumpy with a cigarette in his mouth, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And then it also reminds me of one that we watched where he just was in an apartment block.
You mean Rear Window?
Yeah. So I'm wondering straight away, I'm thinking, is it just going to be set in the apartment? Are we not going to go anywhere else but there?
I don't know. It could well be. I'm not entirely sure, as I say. So
just going from the title, that's...
Yeah. But I think that's where some of the main focus of the story is, because of what this says on the back, which I'll read to you.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
So.
Best reading voice, please.
CC Bud Baxter is a lowly Manhattan office drone with a lucrative sideline in renting out his apartment to adulterous company bosses and their mistresses.
It's a brothel.
Yeah, basically whoring himself out. Or whoring the apartment out. When Bud enters into a similar arrangement with the firm's personal director, J.D. Sheldrake, his career prospects begin to look up and up. But when he discovers that Sheldrake's mistress is Fran Kubelik, the girl of his dreams, he finds himself forced to choose between his career and the woman he loves.
Oh, well, we all know what he was going to go for, don't we?
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the story.
Well, it better be.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to hope you'd pick me, Paul, if he was faced with that.
Are you
outcome.
talking about, not in the film, you're talking just in general?
Yeah, I feel like any man should go for the woman they love unless they could...
Taking him with him.
Yeah. If they could go somewhere and the job takes them elsewhere and the woman they love, have your cake and eat it too if you can. But if you can't, then I feel like you should always go for love. Quiden or whatever it was that we watched kind of told us that in the black hair one, really. So, yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm trying to connect.
Take something from that, yeah.
Yeah.
Win. Yeah. So, really looking forward to seeing what this has to offer. I take it you are as well.
Yeah, I really am. I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
I still think I want to watch all the other ones as well, though.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So it might be, something that we will later on the line have to put in again.
Yeah.
We did watch Shop Around the Corner around Christmas. We didn't do a review.
No, that might come up Christmas time, I think.
And I feel like I really, really enjoyed Shop Around the Corner as well. So I feel like any classic old black and white, I prefer them than normal films. So I'm hoping it's a good score.
So we'll be back to speak to you shortly.
What did you do to your hair?
It was making me nervous, so I chopped it off. Big mistake, huh?
No, I sort of like it.
You got a Lulu.
Huh? Oh, yeah, better not get too close.
I never catch colds.
Really? I was reading some figures from the Sickness and Accident Claims Division. Do you know that the average New Yorker between the ages of 20 and 50 has 2.5 colds a year? Huh.
Now, that makes me feel just terrible.
Why?
Well, to make the figures come out even, if I have no colds a year, some poor slob must have 5 colds a year.
Yeah, it's me.
Should have stayed in bed this morning.
I should have stayed in bed last night.
Movie-wise, there has never been anything like The Apartment. Love-wise, laugh-wise, or otherwise wise.
That was quite good, actually. I think he should speak like that all the time now.
Or like an old-fashioned, timey
Yeah.
American.
Well, it don't have to be American, but yeah.
I think that's the only thing that can really be done with that kind of talk. You see?
I do like George Bailey quite a lot, so...
Yeah, but he didn't talk like that. That's,
No, but he has a nicer accent, but it's still speaking correctly.
Yeah, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hold on there a second.
They pronounce so much, and I don't know, it's just, I like that. Maybe I do pronounce quite a bit, I don't know.
I'd say so. Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is in me. I'm like, oh, somebody else that's talking properly.
Rather than, alright mate, what are you doing?
Yeah. That kind of goes the opposite way for me.
Yeah. So, The Apartment, was it all you kind of expected it to be?
I loved it, I really did. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna. I thought I was gonna enjoy it.
Yes.
But I didn't know where it was going to lead and how in depth it went. So much detail thrown at you from the get-go.
Yeah, when it started up and it was like reeling all these facts off about like how many percent people have like in New York and stuff and all this kind of stuff, and I was thinking this is something that Mark and John from 100 Things from Film will probably have a field day with, all the kind of facts that even like dispersed throughout the film as well.
They'll definitely get to 100. That's
Oh,
for sure.
definitely,
Or beyond.
Yeah.
On that one, maybe it should be 200 things, because they were on the 19th floor. I could relate to our main lead.
Yes.
Miss Brinks, was it?
No, Baxter.
Baxter.
CC Baxter, or
CC Baxter.
Buddy Boy, as
Yeah.
they're referring to in the corporates up atop of him. Yeah.
He's in an accounting job. Well, I'm somewhat in an accounting role. And it's just like, I can relate to crunching those numbers daily. And he kind of he's like middle for diddle in his career, you'd say. He's not like the big wigs. He's your kind of doer.
Yeah, he's like a part of the office drones kind of thing going on. Like, they have a system of clocking through, like, at a certain time of day just to get the hordes of people into the office block.
The hours were so weird. It started at 8:50. It's like, could I not just start at 9? You know, like 10 minutes, like, just so that they can get in the elevators.
Yeah.
Also, what's strange is I've never seen somebody man an elevator before. I've never been in somewhere so posh or a building so high that you have to have somebody manning the elevators.
No.
To be fair, I've been stuck in an elevator. We know this. And I feel like that might have helped if, because there's a capacity, isn't there, of the amount of people that should be allowed in an elevator.
That's it. The reasoning behind that, particularly maybe in this film, and maybe back in the day anyway, was to, like, not just cramming people in like sardines. It's like, right, that's full. Someone who's like an authoritative person to be like, that's it.
That's it.
That's all that's allowed. Going up, going down, whatever. Yeah.
Boring job. Also, I would hate it because it's like I'm stuck in an elevator all day.
I'd be sick of them. Yeah, like, I don't want to get in one.
I'd rather use the stairs, I think, than that being my job.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it, to think that even is a job? I don't know if maybe correct me if I'm wrong, unless it's like in America or something. There is people that still have that job.
Unlikely for that to be a career path now, but
no. And it's just like one of those things where they used to have so many jobs, didn't they, out there, where it was like these little kind of easy jobs that you could get, where now we have a machine that does it.
Yeah, precisely, yeah. It's crazy. But the main crux of the story really is that Baxter is putting his superiors above himself, more ways than one. He's to rent out his apartment to allow them to have like flings with other
one night
office
stands or like a bit of a floozy.
It's more that because it's like continuously.
Yeah, it's like it's got a bit on the side, isn't it, that they have these men.
Yeah.
It seems to be like as well, like a bit glamorized by the fact that they've got a wife, but they've got a bit on the side, and it's like that's okay and that's acceptable.
Yeah, like something like a gentleman's club thing.
Yeah.
But it's very strange that it's kind of like, this is all right, and there's no problem with this at all.
And nobody's blinking an eyelid thinking your poor wife or anything like that. Yeah. Like nowadays, I feel like somebody would be like, a little bit like, you sure you should be doing that? That's not really acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh yeah, no, the higher up you are, you can do whatever you want, really. It doesn't really matter. He's trying to do it though, is Baxter, to
go up the corporate ladder, basically.
Just work hard, that might help. But I think back then you had to
swing
your way in.
That room that he's in, it's like a whole floor of just these accounting machines or whatever they are.
Oh, it's so archaic as well. Yeah. Like they've got a typewriter that looks like a little bit mod con, because it kind of, instead of having to make it go on to the next line, it kind of and it'll move on.
Yeah.
And then they've got a phone, and that's it. And then little Rolodex.
Yeah.
Is that for numbers? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like a little diary of keeping track of people in the building for numbers to call on. That's what it was.
Seems so strange.
Yeah. But to a point, it's obviously he's in such a swarm of other people. It's like hard to stand out. So it's like, what do I do to kind of like get anywhere in my job? So
I don't know. I'd rather be middle for diddle than have somebody sleeping in my bed with somebody every other night and then me being out in the cold. Because they do say, it's a saying, you can have all the success in the world, but if you don't have anyone to share it with, there's no point in being successful.
Exactly. Yeah. So when he does get a moment to like have his apartment to himself, he's obviously like living in sort of squalor, but it looks okay for what a pad, really. Yeah,
but it's near enough his full wage for like a month.
Yeah.
So he gets for £94
dollars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's 10 or 70. I can't read my handwriting.
70. Yeah.
And then he gets about, roughly, it's £85.
Dollars.
Oh God, I couldn't go anywhere, could I? Complete Brit for his apartment. They'd upped it because she'd done some aircon or something in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's like a week's wage. If that's even a month, I'm assuming it was, but he didn't really say.
I would think they normally, even back then, they'd probably do it by monthly renting.
That's
Cost.
1 week's worth of wage,
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, but then he's also got to. I mean, these people who are using his apartment, they're like paying for booze. I assume. I don't know if he's actually getting benefiting in terms of any monetary on the side as well, like a little
I don't feel like he is.
freelance job or something. But
And he's getting more kind of hassle from it than he is probably any rewards or benefit at the beginning. Like, the organisation on this would do my head in. Like, people being flaky. Oh, I can't do that day. No, we need to do it on this day. And, oh, I need to just borrow your apartment while he's, bless him, asleep. I'm like, sod off, it's my house.
yeah,
I'd be livid. I wouldn't be able to, the patience he's got. Like, oh, I'm stood outside
I know. Yeah,
waiting
freezing
because I
cold,
said
yeah.
8 o'clock and now it's still gone over an hour. I'd have gone, knocked on the door going, are you going to get out?
Mhm.
It's my home.
Yeah.
But he just seems one of those really pushover characters at the beginning, doesn't he?
Yeah, this is what the film is kind of developing for him as a character to grow. But what I kind of find interesting, obviously, and kind of funny, because it's obviously funny moments, is when he sits down like, oh, right, I got my dinner, whatever, at the TV, turns it on, and it's like, right, now our show, but first, a word from our sponsor, and he's like, oh, I've got to flip through the chances to anything to not have to sit through a commercial. Like, oh, yeah, we relate to those things we always hate. Like most people, I'm sure, like, oh, going to commercials, you nip up, go to the toilet, go and get a drink or whatever while it's going on before the show comes back on and everything. And he has this, like, almost like futuristic, like, TV switch instead of, like, what you would think of, like, on an old TV, like, going to switch them manually
it
on
looks
the
like
thing.
a remote.
Yeah, a big remote box thing, like a switch box, so they could change the channel without having to get up which is kind of inventive. But I don't know if that was a thing for in the 60s, early 60s.
I do know I spoke to my mum and she was like, well, my TV didn't have that. It was on the telly. Yes, if you wanted to change the channel, you had to get up and change it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's maybe there was a mod-con you could have.
Yeah,
the higher class you were, maybe you could afford.
Maybe they've been developed. Maybe it's just a States thing. I don't know, but
yeah.
So he goes through all that, and then he eventually goes back round, and it's like, here's another advert. Oh, for God's sake! Like, I can't get a break with this. Just a relaxed downtime. It's kind of like a sad for him because it's just like there's no
break. All he does is stay at work, and then he's stood outside waiting for his work colleagues to leave his apartment. He then gets a microwavable meal that looks absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Like, well, it looks like a microwave oven meal.
Yeah.
Like,
you peel the foil back or what?
It looks like something you'd have in prison.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it looks like with a little kind of carton bits.
So it's really sad for him.
I do think, though, bless him, because he stood out in the rain waiting for this one person to leave, and he gets a cold.
And that whole, it's good acting on his part, Jack Lemmon. This is the Baxter character. And for like a good chunk of the film, he's kind of like putting on this like nasally, like he's got a cold voice, so it's good on him for like keeping that up for.
Yeah, and sneezing and like being
Because normally for films they like a couple of scenes and then it's moved on to the next a week later or something like that, or something like that. But no, I think that's kind of good acting on his part for that.
Yeah, 100% did that really solid. Also, the lady in the elevator, Fran, she called the cold Lulu, like flu. I don't know. I didn't know this was a thing back then, that you'd get like a Lulu and it would be meaning a cold, like sniffles. We say,
yeah.
Like over here, anyways, we do. But I don't think Lulu is one in our books, anyways, that you would. So I was like, oh, that's really strange.
What's really strange also is the fact that when they're obviously like going back to the elevator stuff, it's like, good morning, Mr. Duh, Mr. Duh, Mr. Duh, reeling off all these names, like just to get them like good morning to every single person that's in the things. I couldn't be bothered, like just to say good morning, everybody, and then that's like getting in the lift.
Well, even when you get into your desk, like when I walk into work, morning, everyone, and that's it.
That's it. That's all you do, as opposed to.
If somebody else is later than me and they arrive, then they'll say morning, I'll say morning back, but I don't say their full name. But back then they were more polite and courteous.
Yeah. That's,
compared to us now.
Yeah. And what? Obviously, the first impressions with Fran, with the pixie hair.
I like her. She's different.
Yeah.
it's not like she's your typical kind of era lookalike in that style.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably where they went for that kind of hairstyle as well, to kind of differentiate between just everybody else of that.
Like long,
in the
curly
office.
kind
Yeah,
of hair.
yeah.
Yeah, she seems unique. She stands out. Even like her facial features, the way
Mhm.
that she is.
Yes.
She does have like a pixie kind of chin, and she just looks completely different and stands out because of everybody
she's
else.
got like a cute demeanour to her.
Mm. Her character, I'm a little bit like, I want to really like her,
hmm
but she does annoy me a
Irritate.
little.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
a bit selfish, I feel.
Is that more from what we learn later on?
Yeah. From the get-go, you think, oh, this looks like a cute meet cute kind of thing. You want
Yeah,
them
yeah.
to get together.
And then Paul Baxter with the faffing around with like you're saying about like rearranging dates and stuff. I just couldn't be bothered like going through that. Or I got to go check in on like.
Well, the fact that he's got a cold, he's looked at his temperature and gone, Jesus, I need a night
Yeah,
in bed
bed.
to recover.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even get that, does he, bless him, in the end, because he's having to faff around, moving schedules and everything like that to kind of just get a night in bed.
Yeah, the place to himself kind of.
Yeah. And it's like,
everything.
it's your own apartment, you pay for it. You shouldn't be worried about saying no now and again to these people. But because they're above him in his workplace, I feel like that's really...
They've got him like sort of like a emotional blackmail or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
horrid. It really
Yeah.
is, because like, well, if you want to help us, we can move you up the ladder, but if not, we can drop you like a sack of
Yes, it
potatoes.
is. Yeah, because that was more a thing back then as well. Like you're fired and that's it. You're out.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
out. No, you're given a month's
Notice.
leeway of or anything like that. It's your first warning, second warning. That's it.
Yeah, once you've kind of tarnished it, you can just get
Yeah,
gone, basically. Which, I don't know, it's good and it's bad, because it can be... It's good if you want to get rid of somebody and they do need to get shot of, but it's bad if it's personal.
Yeah.
Which you can't do nowadays.
I mean, I'm speaking from knowledge of like what happens in the UK. I don't know if that's still a thing that occurs in the States with, you know, first chance, second chances or whatever.
I
in
feel
terms
like
of
it
jobs.
will be, because unless they've done something really bad,
Oh, yeah, of course.
then I feel like they'll have a HR over there that...
Yeah. Oversee that, yeah.
Yeah.
But Baxter seems to know quite a lot about her anyway. He kind of like, oh, how do you know my name and my address and all that stuff? It's like, well, obviously because the Rolodex and all the files that we've got on him. So it's kind of like he knows her without actually getting to know her.
Yeah, he's
As such,
interested.
yeah.
It's like kind of Facebook stalking, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Equivalent.
Yeah. Early days. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, let's have a look at you.
Are you single? Or...
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And he does really have a crush on her. It's
Yeah.
really endearing.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes around that the big boss knows that Baxter's up to something and calls him up to the office. So initially he's getting really excited, thinking he's going to get a promotion, and he's like, oh, it's my big break. They've put in a good word for me. Scurries up to go up to there, and it turns out...
He knows that what the goings on in the office are, this key being passed around and stuff between to and fro, and it's like, when I want in on this.
Yeah. I want the benefits of this, and if you do, I'll make you my, like, chief next man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, he does get, in the end, works his way up that way, but it's not the way to work.
No.
Up.
What I found interesting about that as well, like, it made it seem like it was a grand thing, like, you know, he's packing up his desk and walking to the front of the camera or, you know, off screen, whatever. And it kind of seems like, yeah, it's still on the same level. It's just a box that's just away from the front of everybody. So it's not like a big, like, all right, like I'm away from everybody. It's kind of like still overseeing
Everybody else.
everybody. It's a step up for him, sure. But it doesn't seem like, to me anyway, that's kind of like I'm just kind of boxed in away from everybody else, like overseeing. You could probably see everybody like leering at you from the distance if you paid hard enough attention.
I'm wondering if he's like a manager now.
Yeah.
If he's like looking after those on the
Yeah.
floor.
That's the idea behind it. So
it's he has leveled up, and it says something administrator.
Yeah.
Something on his door.
Yeah.
But it's like.
But I think that was done away in a good way. Like, again, the camera angles there, because obviously, like, say he's walking off, with a happy smile on his face, and he cut to like someone painting thing on the door, and then it kind of like pans around or cuts around, and it's like, yeah, I'm just like looking over the other drones of people, so it doesn't seem like it's a good step up in a way, but it is for him. It's a small win.
Yeah,
But-
you've got your own space.
Yeah.
Which I think he needs, because he hasn't got it at home. So he feels
Yeah.
like that's his only little room
Yeah,
where
exactly,
this is
yeah.
mine, and
Yeah. Away from everybody, yeah.
I can say who can come in and can't at my
Exactly,
terms.
yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
that's how he gets that bit of closure, having that.
Yeah, his own space to...
Yeah.
Although there's an instance when it was at the Xmas party, and he's like, St. Fran, step into my office, and then there's people making out there as well. It's like, oh, come on, like, can I
Yeah.
not get any privacy even in my office space that I've worked up for? He's like, doesn't seem fair. It's like, just get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's kind of trying to better himself. He's got like a hat and he's asking Fran, what does she think?
Yeah.
But I don't really think she appreciates it. Like, she's not really like interested, or she's thinking he's working his way up and she's not eager, even though, you know, we find out what Fran is eventually from the back of it.
Yeah, it's because she had an encounter with the big boss's receptionist. He had a thing with her, and then there was other women after that, and then in between it's like, well, you know, who's going to be next type of thing. So it's kind of putting that seed of doubt into this and making her feel a bit lousy, so she's really not paying much attention
Yeah.
to this. But
She's thinking of herself, so she's actually seems to be like a summer fling that she's had with Jeff, which she's then thought it was something else and thought he was going to divorce his wife and everything for her. He's now trying to say that again to her to string her along.
yeah,
But the office secretary has said,
I've heard that story before and everything, yeah.
you know, different, special,
Yeah.
is just going to carry on with his life and have a bit on the side. Basically, that's the kind of man he is.
Yeah.
But I feel like, for a woman's perspective on this, if I was Fran and I can see Baxter being such a lovely kind of gentleman, being a really kind of nice man,
Yeah.
I'd be like, why am I wasting my time with this guy that clearly doesn't want me? Yeah, okay, I love him, but he doesn't love me and he's not treating me right. There's a guy here that really values me. Why am I wasting my time?
If it's always that thing, is it's like, well, it's just got the money, and it's just like a falsehood of like, what is love really to you? Really, it's like, is it just the being up in the ranks of society, or are you just really just looking for someone just to be more genuine towards you and actually care about you?
Yeah, because that's what love is.
yeah.
It's not just buying you things.
I don't know if I'm saying that all wrong or anything, but but it's an interesting thing to pose to yourself. A portion of this is set around Christmas, so does this technically make it a Christmas film?
Not like the Shop Around the Corner Christmas film.
Right.
I don't really see a Christmas tree apart from in
Is
his apartment.
Yeah, and the boss man's
Yeah.
family home. Yeah.
But it's not like you're decorating it. It's not like you're doing any kind of, apart from the Christmas party and opening some presents on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. I'd say it probably is, but
It's low key.
yeah, it's not a
Yeah.
high contender compared to like It's a Wonderful Life and
Yeah, it was interesting because most of that is more at the back end, isn't it? Anyway,
yeah,
with that, and yet that's still deemed more of a Christmas
film.
film.
But it has a better Christmas moral. That's why I think it works
Yes.
so well.
Yeah.
And even the Shop Around the Corner does as well.
Mm.
So anyone that wants to go see Shop Around the Corner, it is something we probably will. I'd like to review it around Christmas time.
Yeah, no, I remember we said on the blurb we probably will do for when that comes around for Christmas.
Mm.
So yeah. But one of the good lines of this anyway, and the turning point for Baxter as well, when he realizes with the mirror that Fran has, because that Jeff, the boss, has. And it's like, oh, I found this mirror in the apartment or something, and it's like, oh, it's cracked. And then when Fran when he asks Fran in his office,
Mhm.
can I borrow the mirror to look at how I look in the mirror, and notice it's cracked. It's like, oh right, this is the same.
Same mirror, and he knows
Same. Yeah.
it's her.
She's like, what's the matter? And it's like, yeah, the mirror, it's broken. It's like, yeah, I like that. It makes me look the way I feel. So for both of them as well, it's like his morals are cracked in that way. And then she's obviously, like, as she states, she's broken in like how she feels about herself.
Yeah, I think she's
and
trying
what she's
to.
doing. Yeah.
She's trying to justify what she's doing because she thinks, well, I'm in love with him, but it's like she's not thinking of the bigger picture and everybody else that she's hurting
Mhm.
while she's doing this. She's even hurting Baxter
Mhm.
without her realising it. Like, bless him, I really feel sorry for him when he realises his big boss that he's kind of lending the apartment and helping him go up the ranks is the girl he really likes.
Yeah.
Makes it bittersweet.
It really does. And for him, it's like a trip to the bar, isn't it? Really.
Mhm. He's
And
feeling sorry for himself.
Yeah. I really like this how this kind of scene plays out because like it goes back into the apartment where Fran and Jeff are, and they're kind of like breaking it up. So Baxter is like drowning in sorrows at the bar and everything. It's all busy, and there's a guy with a Santa suit and everything.
Yeah, there
so
is.
I guess there's a Christmas thing there. And this woman, I think her name is Margie or something, is like trying to get his attention. Like,
Oh, she's a
he's-
pain.
Yeah, but I think she's really hilarious, like a typical New York accent. What's the big idea?
Yeah.
Kind of thing and everything. So she's like blowing straws, and Baxter's like he's just zoned out. He's like not even paying a second glance
Yeah.
over
He's
it.
just feeling so sorry for himself. He's probably absolutely drunk at this point.
Yeah. It's horrors, and so but she does come over and have a little conversation, but they're just looking forward. Not like look at each other, kind of just having a conversation about it, and he's just like whatever kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she's really funny
She's throwing herself at him as well, to be fair.
because her husband's been taken in by Castro or something in Cuba. Like, oh, right, okay.
Well, that makes you really want to kind of mess around with her,
Yeah,
doesn't it? Because
yeah.
like the husband, when he comes out,
Yeah.
not going to be a pretty picture, is
Yeah.
it?
So I cut back to the apartment, and Fran's having, I guess, a bit of a breakdown as well, isn't she? So understandably.
She's
Yeah.
crying her eyes out. She's feeling sorry for herself, even though she knew the situation
Mhm.
and she got herself into it anyways. So
That's-
I don't really feel sorry for
Yeah.
her that much, because really you should have not got yourself this deep
Yeah.
into this situation. You should have gone, right, no, this is married. That's it.
Mhm.
No questions, no ifs or buts, just don't go there. But she's like upset. She's like, oh, well, you've done this with this other woman and I'm nothing. And she's really demoralising herself in front of him, and he couldn't really care.
No, it's like, oh, what's the matter with you type of thing. And it's
yeah,
like,
oh, this is not like you, not fun.
yeah. It's
it's
like,
like-
well, no shit.
Yeah.
Learn all this stuff at the office party, and it's like, oh, no, that mean nothing to me type of thing, and all that spiel.
But it's just, she doesn't believe him now. Anything he says is just a lie.
And the fact that obviously, like, with the gift exchange, it's like, she's bought him a really thoughtful, like, vinyl.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's like, oh, my song from or our song from the Chinese restaurant or whatever.
Even though he takes everybody there.
Yeah. Yes, our song. And he's like, here's $100. And it's like a bit of a, it's a bit like a hookerish vibe going on here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like, oh, so then she even said, oh, well, I best start taking my clothes off
Yeah,
because you paid me.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's not like that, it's not like that. Well, I've got to go now anyways. And it's like, well, we could have had some fun, but you've wasted his time crying. That's
Yeah, I know, it's
basically-
like, oh, how selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But
So-
he's really makes you feel like you crap on his shoe,
Yeah,
basically, because he's so high up.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't do anything anyways for his job. He's like one of those that just does nothing
Yeah.
and lets everyone else
Sits
do
at his
it.
desk and
Yeah.
just goes, "Du-du-du-du," yeah.
Because he even said when Baxter kind of levels up again,
Mhm.
you're working too hard. Like, what? I get paid the big bucks, shouldn't I be working hard?
And then we go cut back to the barn, and obviously it's closing hours for the patrons, and they're kind of like dancing, like holding
to cheek.
almost. Yeah, it's really funny.
I don't know how they're keeping up like
I
that,
know.
like how they're actually
Yeah.
standing and dancing that way.
Uh,
And they're like, get out.
Yeah,
It's time
So,
to fix
yeah.
your clothes.
yeah. And she's like, right, we're going my place or yours? And it's like, well, looks at his watch and he's like, well, let's go to mine now. Everyone else does.
Yeah.
So let's get some use out of my actual apartment.
I do feel sorry for him though, because he gets so much stick off his neighbours
Yes, that's another point as well. Yeah,
with everything that goes on, because they think he's a ladies' man, and he's getting no action at all. Bless
know,
him.
which
And-
makes the situation even more hilarious because it's like, yeah, I'm not actually getting anything from this.
Yeah, but he's getting a bad reputation in his apartment, and everyone's kind of thinking he's a bad person,
Yeah.
really. And bless him, he's not. He's not
Yeah.
doing anything wrong.
These superiors just do not really care about the repercussions of, like, with all these bottles they're drinking, he's got to take them to the bottle bank or whatever, and it's
And all
like
the noise that they're making while they're doing
yeah,
a certain
hanky-panky,
activity.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we soon realise when they go back to the apartment, Fran is passed out in bedroom and everything, and she's taking some sleeping pills.
She could have overdosed on
Yeah,
that, and she
yeah.
could not be here.
Yeah.
And it's like, not meaning this in a bad way, and I understand people might get themselves into that state of mind. But no man or no woman or anybody is worth making you feel that way.
No.
It's just not worth it.
No. But it's quite quite a dark subject matter to include in a film like this as well,
Yeah.
especially for the time, because like it's a serious thing to occur in a film of this era. So
They still do it in a light way, even though.
yeah. They don't like
but it's
foaming at the mouth or anything crazy like that. But it's
No.
kind of like when Baxter's like, all right, getting the room ready, and it's like open the door and it's like close, and I even go like double take, like what?
like
Kind of thing and
his
everything.
dreams have come true because she like Franny's on my bed, but then it's like she's not awake.
Yeah.
He's like, get out, come on, I'm gonna actually get some action here. So he's like not really caring for her until he realizes she's not waking up.
And then again, there's more of hilarity with the Margie that's like, hey, what's the big idea again?
And then,
type of thing.
And then
It's
she's
like,
banging on the
my-
door and
Yeah.
making a foofar.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
the doctor next door, then bless him, he's so helpful.
Mhm.
But he sees him kicking one girl out and then having one girl overdose
Yeah.
on his bed. And it's like, he's only helping Fran, really. And even though, actually, it's all Fran's fault.
Yes, yeah.
That's the annoying thing. It's like, he's taking all this flack for her, when in a sense, it's all her doing.
For what's occurring around at this time, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
Not beforehand, because
No, but
No.
it's like, well, she's overdosed
Yeah.
because of Jeff. Baxter's not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
He's apart from lend out his apartment to these people.
Mhm.
That's the only thing he's done wrong. She should have not slept with Jeff because she knew he was married. She shouldn't have overdosed in his apartment, and he gets all sorts of flack thrown at him
Mhm.
because of her. Then, like it's not worth it. Bless him. Just leave her.
I know. But you got to have a conscience of like, well, at least got to make sure she's okay, because that's your head. It's like, it looks pretty dodgy suspect, doesn't it? If
We
it's
also didn't bring up the fact that Baxter, bless him, did actually invite her to the cinema right at the beginning, not
When it was-
knowing
yeah.
she was with Jeff, and she stood him up.
He's going to a performance, and it's like, because he gave him the tickets to obviously use while he was out, Baxter was out, he's using the Lost is using the apartment and everything. He's just, so he's like, even when it started, he's standing in the street as if like, oh, I don't want to, just in case she shows up and doesn't know where to be seated or whatever, and it's a very sad
Yeah.
situation for him.
And it's
But-
like, and now you're looking after her.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and
He is. It's just too
God.
good for his own.
Yeah.
for his
I mean,
own good.
even like stuff like any potentially dangerous weapons like the razors he has, and it's like, right, I'll keep them in my pocket or hide them away out just in case, because he's so worried that she's on the brink of ending her life in
Yeah,
one way
he's
or the
been so
other.
thoughtful
Thought-
about everything.
Yeah.
And she's just been a whining cow.
Yeah, admittedly she's one of the negatives about the film is a little bit whiny, and now she comes across and everything, so woe is me type of
Yeah, she feels
thing.
so sorry for herself, but it's like, well, you actually put yourself in that situation. Like,
Yeah.
there's a couple of good liners from this where she's kind of quotable.
Yeah.
Like, why do people have to love people anyway? And it's like, oh, I know it sounds horrible. Like, I know heartache and breakups and stuff like that. It does hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I've got you in that sense, and we've not broken up yet.
Touch wood. Yeah.
But it's you have a choice of who you fall in love with as well.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, you knew the situation. The outcome's not going to be pretty, is it?
Yeah, but in the moment, you kind of think, oh, this is going to work out or something. You feel like you are the one person who's going to change this person's mindset or something. It's just one of those things when you kind of blinded, aren't you, a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annoyingly.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. But one of the things that kind of took me back as well when the doctor comes in, I was like very comical, but kind of like a bit of way of bringing it around. It's obviously got the smelling salts, but then like proper like bitch slapping in a type like wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what you need to be doing. Like,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
just trying to fall back asleep.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, no.
No, you got to
Like, shaking her,
Yeah.
kind of saying,
Yeah.
wake up.
wake up. Yeah.
I do feel a bit sorry for her in that sense, but it's like, well, like she even said, why did you wake me up? Why didn't you just leave me? She's really in a negative state of mind. And I don't know, if I were Baxter, I'd be like, well, you could have a good guy right here, and you're taking me for granted. So we have it where Baxter rings Jeff
Yes.
to let him know
yeah,
what's
the
happened.
situation, yeah.
And he couldn't care less, could he? He just
No.
wants to make sure it doesn't come back on him, that it's not publicised in any newspapers, that his wife don't find out. And he can't come over because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So literally putting all of it on Baxter to, this is like your number one priority, you have to look after her. Make sure that it's you that takes the flak for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've done all of that,
Yes.
I'll give you a big promotion.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. So again, he's put through the ringer just to try and get where he needs to be, but...
And then as soon as we get back after Christmas, Jeff fires his secretary. It's like, you're shot, basically. Out you go, because you've told Fran, and then she's gone overdosed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, rumours are going around the office because Baxter's not in, Fran's not in. After Christmas, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
And
The brother-in-law comes knocking at the office as well. And then it's like, oh, like to the higher-ups. Again, it's like, well, should we tell him where he is? Because we don't owe Buddy Boy anything. We haven't been able to go to the apartment because he's kind of boycotted all that. Like, no more of this because I can't be doing with this.
well, he can't because he needs to look after Fran,
Yeah,
and that's what
yeah.
he's. But they're thinking he's having a good time with Fran.
Well, they do because one of them comes round. It's like, because
Yeah.
we were scheduled in, and it's like,
No, you're not.
oh, what was going on? Oh, why didn't you say so? That you got Fran, one of the women they were trying to like get the claws into, really.
I think that's because she's so elusive.
Yeah,
She doesn't go for anybody else.
Yeah.
And they think they're single and they can't have her, so
Yeah.
it's that allure.
yeah.
But they don't know the boss is
Yeah,
being
yeah,
with her. That's why.
Yeah. And from that, there's another funny instance when the brother-in-law comes knocking at the door. And it's like I can't remember the words exactly, but it's something like Baxter's like mid-conversation with Fran. It's like, as I took advantage of you while you were in bed. As he's opening the door, and the brother-in-law hears that, and I'm thinking, oh, that's such good but bad timing
A bit
on
cringe
his part.
for me. I was like, oh.
It's like that's so hilarious. Yeah.
But he does really well, does Baxter, with how...
He plays that again. He's protecting Fran's best interest there, and he takes one on the chin or whatever for her. But he's like, never
'Cause she
been better
can't-
type of thing.
Yeah, she's like, oh, thank you, and
You know,
kind of gives him a
a
kiss.
on the head. Yeah.
He's like, oh, all is forgiven, it's fine.
Yeah.
Love makes you do stupid things.
And so now Baxter now gets his rewards for
Yeah.
his efforts and has his big office right next to Big Boss.
He's the director now.
Yeah.
And actually, I think he wishes he wasn't, because he's so close to Jeff and he knows what's happened,
And yeah.
knows the impact on Fran and everything like that. He just seems to not be able to kind of cope with being so close. I feel like he'll be letting Baxter do all the work while Jeff just sits and has
Yeah.
a good time,
Putting his
basically.
feet up, yeah.
So it gets to a point of where Jeff now wants the key again. He chucked the key in the river or so, I don't know. He got rid of it,
somewhere.
basically.
Yeah.
And he's saying, oh, well, we need to get another one cut, but for the time being, can I just borrow your key? And I'm going to take Fran over to the apartment and kind of smooth things over.
Because there's that sort of interim, isn't there, with that, of like, he's left his wife and family
Yeah.
and everything, but it's kind of like, got to be on the down low a little bit.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, it's big news.
Yeah.
Baxter, bless him, is going to say, I'm going to take Fran off your hands, it's fine, I'm going to...
Yeah, I love her so much type of thing, yeah.
And then
He's
Jeff
like, I got
gets...
big news too, and it's like,
Before.
I'm taking off
Yeah.
your hands. Like, what? Yeah.
And he's like, but Jeff does actually... Not Jeff. Baxter actually sticks up for himself and says, no, you're not taking Fran to my apartment, and puts his foot down.
Mhm.
And he's like, what you on about? And kind of saying, well, if you don't let me, I can easily...
Yeah, again, that threat of kicking you out of your job, yeah.
So he gives him the key, and you think that he's kind of...
Rolling over again.
Yeah. But it's the washroom key.
Yeah, it's a good turn. And he says something like, decided to become a mensch, which I think is, I'm assuming because the doctor says, and I think he's like Jewish or something, there must be like a term for that. Do you know what that means? A human being. So probably like being a man about the situations, like stepping up to him, and it's like, right, I'm going to just leave the business now. Don't have to worry about that. No more of this stuff. I'm not taking it anymore, and just...
Walks out.
Yeah.
But probably being the fact that he's been levelled up and levelled up. He's got it on his... Well, I don't know if they'd CVs back then.
for
got
all of
experience.
like a day, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And it's like, well, actually, he'll probably raked in a bit. Won't need to be worrying too much about financially. He's wanting to move his apartment as well. He's wanting to just kind of put it all behind him.
Yeah, for too many bad memories, I guess, and just like, yeah, I'm just packing up and leaving. This is on New Year's Eve, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
where Jeff and Fran are in the same Chinese
booth, yeah.
Yeah, looking into the new year. I think they couldn't get Baxter's apartment, so he does actually say that to Fran. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to drive out quite far to get a hotel."
Yeah, and that's the kind of realization for her at this point. It's like, oh, Baxter did that, or Baxter said that, or something. She's kind of seeing the light a little bit on the situation, and does this like Happy New Year cuts to like the crowd in the bar and everything, and then it's like cuts in like, you know, and you even said yourself, didn't you? You kind of see enough films now to know like Jeff's like turned around like, oh well, Fran, let's celebrate, and like, where's she gone type of thing.
Yeah.
It's
left
like,
on his own, which he deserved.
Yeah. And then there's like some closing final scenes like where Fran's like running down the street to the apartment and everything, like the happy music playing and everything. Cleverly done, but I knew it was what it was. Like what sounds like a gunshot, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's killed himself!" She's inviting the door, and it's just the bottle of champagne that the doctor gave him to bring in the new year that he opened. And then this nice moment again when they sat on the couch, and let's play the gin rummy game that they played earlier.
And he says, "I adore you." Bless him to her. Really, he's besotted by her.
Yeah. He's just staring at her with the situation. He's like, "Do you hear what I said? I absolutely adore you." And she's like, "Shut up and deal." And it's like, yeah, so that little quirky, cute ending. Really,
and then they live happily ever after. Yeah, I assume so.
Story wise, that's how it goes. That's how how it crumbles.
Cookie wise,
yeah. There's a lot of that I pointed out as well, didn't I?
Yeah, I think I even said something the other day, something wise, and then you laughed at me.
Yeah, there's a lot of like percentage wise, solution wise, divorce wise,
everything wise. But then it was quite funny when we looked at the
yeah, that's what I read out at the beginning. Yeah,
you were like, "Oh well, definitely it is," because you pointed it out. I didn't even notice it
through the film, and then I saw that on the reversible sleeve of the box. It was like the original art poster on the Blu-ray I got, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. It's obviously I've not seen it before. I didn't know that was an integral writing in terms of the script and everything. So but it's a really enjoyable first watch.
Mm-hmm. To say the length of the film, it didn't feel like it went on that long. It kind of, every beat had a good kind of chunk for it. I'd say it wasn't anything where I could go, they could cut that down and it'd be a better film. Okay.
I felt there was maybe a little bit, a teensy tiny bit could have shaved off, but I don't really know where that would occur. That's the thing. So maybe that's good in a sense. It's not like that clearly could just be chopped out. So it did seem to go on maybe not quite 2 hours, maybe like 10, 20 minutes somewhere, but I don't know. So that's...
I think it's definitely a solid film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It has so much content with acting within it. So the lines I've got to learn, all of that. And I think this is the thing what I really value when I watch these kind of films. It is just based on their acting skills alone, and there's no fancy things going behind them.
No special effects, yeah.
Nothing. It's just quality acting, a good, really good, robust storyline.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Which grabs you, attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I can kind of keep my attention up.
Yes.
If it's kind of a bit of an action film and I'm like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's a bit repetitive. Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah.
And I think this is why I really appreciate these older films.
Yeah, because that's all they've got to work on, really.
Yeah. And the storylines are so much better than what we've got today. They're just so much more in depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree 100% on that.
I even like black and white. I do. I don't know if you do though. Sit there and go, I wonder what them colour curtains would actually be.
Sometimes, yeah. Just flip a switch and see. But
see what colour.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it wasn't literally all black and white back then because there was some colour films coming out at that point anyway. But yeah, it's just the way it was filmed. But the disc quality as well, I'm kind of glad because sometimes you can watch these films a bit like, I think when we watched Quiet, I said to you, it's like, I feel like what we streamed was maybe like DVD quality or something because it didn't seem that quite sharp. And on reflection, I looked at like a trailer of like announcing about it and like way more crisp on the thing, and the colours are a bit more vibrant. So I'm kind of happy that what I picked up this disc and this set I've got, it's like a 4K scan on the Blu-ray, and yeah, spot on with like no like grain or anything like that. It was all clean and crisp and sharp, and everything was really stood out. So a good first watch on all accounts, really, for the experience.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel like this would be something I would put on again happily and enjoy.
Not at Christmas or just before, maybe.
Just before.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
feel like it's like, you know, what December gets like with ramming of Christmas stuff and then trying to fit in all the classics.
Yeah.
I feel like it could be one that you could just start watching in November and you could get away with it.
Yeah. Revisit it sooner rather than later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right, for my score, it's kind of tricky because obviously we've been talking about it a bit more as we were going on, and kind of like enjoyed
it's
talking through it
as well.
with you. Yeah, with you. So I think I'm going to go because this could definitely alter over time, but I'm going to sit at 8.5.
Okay, yeah.
I think with more watches, obviously great experience, like I said, and everything. The length just tidy up a little bit, but I can definitely see this coming back to this might encroach to a 9 in the future watches. But for now, first viewing, 8.5.
Perfect. So for me, it is a 9. It's not a bang out 10 like Singing in the Rain, just because certain characters within this and the moral behind it. I think Singing in the Rain is just that really good, lovely feel.
Yeah.
And A Wonderful Life. And even The Shop Around the Corner, they're like my 10 worthies.
Spoilers for the Sorry.
So they're up there.
Yeah.
And this one is definitely a high contender. I'm not saying it's not. It's just I can't justify a 10 for it. And I don't even know why I can't. I think it's just I love Baxter as a character so much. And I don't feel like he's worthy for Fran in the end. Like, I feel like he should have somebody better.
I get what you mean. So, it's not justified as to why you would encroach it so high in the scoring.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, because it's not like, wow, this blew me away with, like, everything. Don't get me wrong, it was great. But, it's just those very small details. Like
there was no singing either, so, or dancing, which that's why Singing in the Rain is high.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, or a good moral behind it.
Yeah.
Which... I feel like Fran gets off lightly with everything she's done a little bit too much.
Yeah, I get what you mean with that.
There's no repercussion apart from her overdosing. I know that sounds really bad about actually saying it, but that's self-inflicted.
No.
There's no other kind of... She doesn't really get any repercussion from it, even though she was the one that was in the wrong.
She just made a slight boo-boo and it's like, okay.
And Jeff is the same, and I think that's the annoying thing. Baxter gets all the flack.
Yeah, but he gets what he deserves at the end, essentially, or kind of
he
left open
better
to that. So it's kind of not like and they lived happily ever after or anything like that, but it's kind of like that, kind of like old classic Hollywood, almost like walking into the sunset type of thing.
It's intended that's what's going to happen.
That's the thing. So
I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for picking it on Twitter.
Thank the people, really. I don't know as to whether the other ones would stack up to that, but we will see for future episodes of when we come around to them. So
I really feel like this has been the best one so far for me this year, even though I'm saying that now and I know I'm going into Monster March, which is such a drag.
And what's more, there's actually the way it works with the where the episodes fall. We just managed to get 5 episodes worth instead of 4.
Doesn't that miraculously work out well?
But I promise you that this will be the last Monster March we do.
Now you're making me feel like I should be feeling sad about.
No. I think it's just like for fairness and covering other stuff as well. I think there's plenty of them, but especially how it's worked with the going between the two, like what you've seen and what I haven't seen. There's to be honest, I'm kind of struggling like for things that I haven't seen in terms of monster films that are like solid or not going to be
obsessed.
Like yeah. So it kind of works out that there's 3 that you haven't seen and 2 that I haven't seen for the month, so that's pretty a good way to kind of like wrap it all up.
Still not bitter about the fact that you only gave me like 3 Christmas and then we've got 5 Monster March. Like, what is that? And then miraculously it'll happen in Halloween as well. There'll be like loads.
I don't think so, with what's occurring around that time. So
no Halloween films. But hopefully we should be getting married. None. No, we probably will do somewhere.
Some, but less, I think.
2.
3 if we're lucky.
No.
So, thank you very much for listening to this episode. And if you want to check out all our other episodes, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Good Pods, Podchaser, and pretty much wherever else you might get your podcasts from.
If you do want to have a look at any of the content or follow us on Twitter or Instagram under the handle SP_filmviewers, then definitely come on over there and either give us a like, share us around, give us a nice comment, or any other films you want us to review. We can try and put those in the pipeline too.
And if you give us like 5-star review on iTunes, Apple Store, whatever it's called these days, or on, I think it's Podchaser. I don't know if the Spotify thing still has the means to put like reviews on, but if that's available, you can do that on there as well. I think with that being said, we will speak to you for Monster March next month.
Yeah, we will. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely go and check the apartment out. And sadly, we'll be in Monster March for 5 episodes. Sophie's going to go cry now.
Right, thank you very much, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.